What is going on, killers, and welcome back to the channel. Guys, today I'm going to bring you some S197 content. I'm going to bring you along for the journey on our quest for a 10.0 pass, and we are going to be doing some major upgrades today. These videos that I'm doing are kind of be jumping around a little bit because there's some things I have to do, some things I don't have to do, but all in all, you're not going to miss a step. But today we are upgrading the front suspension and brakes, so all of this has to come off. I will be reusing the Cobra Jet springs. I think they'll do just fine for my little 500 plus horsepower setup, but let's get all this off and then we'll go into the mods. First thing's got to go is the caliper. That is two 12 millimeter bolts. I cannot, with the new setup that I'm going to be using, I can't use the factory line, so I'm going to have to take that off right there. The brake line right there is a 13 millimeter, and that bracket is a 10 millimeter. So I'm going to go ahead and get all that off real quick. The caliper is off. Now I got to get the caliper bracket off. That's two bolts back here, pointing to that one down there, 15 millimeter. That takes the pads and everything. Alright, caliper, bracket, and pads are off. If you've ever done brakes before, your rotor will just slide off. It's heavy. The next step will be to take the hub off. This ABS line is the new system, is not going to need it. I already popped these off. They're just little Christmas tree clips, but you got that electrical connection, and then you have a little 10 millimeter right there. Slide that off. This is a little bit different. You got to take a flathead, wedge it down in here, and then it'll expose the nut. And whenever I get to that, I will show you what to do. Alright, super easy. That's off. That's the ABS sensor line. This right here, I'm gonna set the tripod up real quick. Hold on. So you're going to take a flathead and just wedge it down in between here. And I'm not reusing this, so I don't really care if I mess it up or not. It's not as easy as it looks on CJ Pony Parts, trust me. Channel locks. Let me see if I can pull it off. There we go. And then we got to go get an axle nut, or axle nut socket to pop that off. I think it's like a 32 or something like that. Let me go get mine and verify. Well, I stand corrected. It is a 35 millimeter. I'll buzz this off real quick. This one, it should slide off, but sometimes they are not that easy. I'm gonna wrestle with this off camera. The hub came off, but it didn't come off in one piece. The inner race is still on there. That's okay. I'll get the puller. The new kit that I'm using, I can't use that dust shield, so I'm gonna zap that off real quick. I think that's just 10 millimeter. And zap that off real quick, and I'll wedge something in there and get the puller and grab that, and it should slide right off. No big deal. Alright, I gave it a gentle whack with the chisel here. Put the flat side to the spindle so it didn't gouge it up or any and separate that race. Then I pulled that guy off with the channel locks. Now, since I have a little gap back here, I'm going to put the puller on it. And something's going to tell me that I'm not even going to need any tools. Like, it's too tight to pull off by hand, but I don't think it's tight enough for tools. I could probably spin this by hand. The power of editing, you will find out real soon. See, turn it by hand, coming right off. It's disconnected. Just give it a little tap on the side with a hammer and then whack it down. Then we're going to take these off. This is a 18 millimeter bolt and a 21 millimeter nut. Alright, not reusing this lower control arm. That's a 15 millimeter bolt, 18 millimeter nut. Don't really care if it gets damaged. I'm not using that ball joint, so break this loose. Nothing to it. Alright, so now I've got to get the strut out of the way. That is nothing but those 4 little nuts right there. Yep, 13 millimeters. Alright, that is off, and that is no big deal. I didn't want to destroy that strut because it's actually a really nice strut. Maybe I can resell it for a little bit of money, recoup some. Gotta keep the top hat. That's, you know, the fun part, compressing the spring and getting that off. The fear is real, but I have run into my first hurdle, and this is completely my fault, but just in case anybody else runs into this, when we did the engine swap, I installed these A-arms, or control arms, however you want to say it, with the bolt facing that direction, which was a mistake, because now I don't have clearance. So I had to unbolt the rack, which is 3 bolts, and just to be able to pick it up and get the bolt to slide out from underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these bolts loose, get this control arm off. It's those, there's 2, let's see if I can get you back there or not. Right there, and right there. Gonna do this off camera. This is gonna be a little bit of a process here. Alright, everything is gone and out of there. And yeah, well, there's the pile, there's the control arm and all the brakes and all that stuff. Still got the strut over here. I gotta take that top hat and spring off, but I'm going to reveal to you the first new part. BMR Control Arm. It shall complement the BMR K-member very well. I'm excited. Let's get this installed. Alright, that lower control arm is all installed and looking fantastic. So now I'm going to show you the next bit of the combination that I'm going to be running. This is a strange single adjustable front strut, and I know this video is going to be all over the place a little bit, but that's a CJ spring, perfect for drag racing. This is a good combination for my little NA build. But I'm going to back it up. I'm going to show you the installation and everything like that of everything that I had to go through. So we'll start there, and while you're watching that, I'll have this installed. So here's something a little interesting that happened while doing this. I've reused these, and I was always told that they weren't reusable, but they've never given me any problems. Well, they finally decided to exit the chat and become a 2-piece. So I guess the joke's on them. I've reused these, let's see, well, I did the Bilsteins with iBox springs, and then Tay took the iBox springs off, put them on his car, and he put the CJ springs on for me. So that's stock. So I reused these 3 times, and they finally decided to give up the ghost. So I had to get new ones. There's the, see if I can get the glare off of there. There's the part number if you need it. I went ahead and got 2 of them just in case the other one decides to do that. And there you go. That's what they're supposed to look like. Alright, I got the spring nice and compressed. You see where that rests right there, and the same goes for the top. You have that little spot right there. It's where the end of the spring rests. Slide that on and, you know, get it all in place. And I had to tighten it up with a brand new nut because those are different. Never mind the taping. These are different threads. So yeah, if you're using Bilstein, if you eventually want to use a Bilstein, you will be provided with the proper nuts. These strands use the OEM ones, so obviously I don't have these still. I had to go get new ones. It's not a big deal. These are fairly cheap. I think they're like $2 a piece or something like that. Need both hands, so I think you guys get the idea. That's going to go in there, tighten that up, and be ready to install back in the car. Alright, there it is, all nice and installed. All I got to do is put the spindle back on, and then we'll keep going with the reveal of the new combination. So far I'm pretty happy with the way it looks though. Pretty hot. Alright, everything is installed. I got the spindle back on. So far we have the BMR front control arms. We have the strange single adjustable front struts. The CJ springs, which we've already had in the car, but still it all complements each other very well. So now for the final thing I'd like to reveal, which I am most excited about, is the strange Pro Series 2 front brakes. These are extremely lightweight, and I'm going to reveal all of the weight savings that I've had with all of this stuff at the end of the video. But what this is, the Pro Series 2 is awesome because it features a two-piece rotor, so there's no need to get the rotors turned or just replace the full thing. You pop this out and just replace it. Now all of these are directional. You can see the arrows. Even the calipers are directional. The arrow, everything is really nice. I've already installed the other side, so I just want to give you a couple little tips. If you have a Harbor Freight, the wheel hub nut, socket set or something like that, it will not fit on this in this hub, so you will not be able to get this guy fully torqued down. I was going to put this on a lathe and mill it down a little bit, but I decided to just check the local parts store, and I found a thinner wall selection. I mean, I know this is a chrome socket, but it fits right in there, so I will be able to torque that fully. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to show you the process along the way. The first thing that we have to do is install this plate, and I will show you exactly how to do that. Let me get it all set up here. Actually really simple. Just take this plate, slide it over the hub. That's the only hole you have to line up on the spindle. Get the countersunk bolt. It's a polylock nut. Tighten it on down to 50 foot-pounds. You slide your hub on. And you get that good and tight. And torque it down to 200 foot-pounds. Once again, 36 millimeter. Fits like a glove. Alright, up next will be to cover the new nut with this fancy, pretty little cap they gave here. It does have an O-ring on it, so lube that up a little bit with some oil or some, you know, whatever you choose. I'm using anti-oxidation grease because that's what I use on everything. Pop that on there. give it a little with a rubber mallet, and it is fully seated. Alright, up next will be the rotor install, which is very simple. You just slide them in there like that, and there you go. Not that big of a deal. Then we're going to put these calipers on. These are 4-piston calipers. As I said before, they are directional, so therefore it's kind of foolproof on how to install them. The bolts right here come with shims. I've already, like I said, I already installed the other side. I did not have to shim them at all, but you have to get the rotor as center as possible inside the caliper. That is highly necessary. So I'll go ahead and put this on. Just, you know, mounts on the back just like any other caliper would. These are a 14 millimeter, which is, I guess, a little odd considering you can take a whole car apart with a 13 or 15 and a 10. So just keep that in mind. And look in there, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much dead nuts even. So I'm going to say this side does not need to be shimmed either. I think we're good. Pad install couldn't get much simpler. Take this out. How about this? We'll slide that in there. Slide that in there. We'll slide this in, and then like that. We'll put this bolt back through. Slide it through there. Tighten it up. There is no drag. Overall, I'm very happy with the way it looks. I'm guessing we will see, what time will tell what that black finish will look like. I'm just gonna leave these all the way loose. The only thing I don't like is maybe I didn't make a mistake. I mean, that bolt is very close to that boot on the steering rack. Only time will tell. I mean, yeah. So this is what it looks like. I'm very pleased with the looks of it so far. Let's go over the weight savings. I have it all written down real quick. Alright, so far I've just documented everything. The front suspension, the brake upgrade. You see I just kind of wrote down what I have here. Alright, so the stock control arms weighed in right at 29.2 pounds. The BMR ones weighed in right at 23.2. The power stop rotors were 40.4. Strange rotors 13.2. The stock hubs were 14.4. Strange hubs 19.2. Bilsteins were 20.8. The Stranges were actually a little heavier at 29.2. Kind of be expected with the adjustability. The stock caliper brackets and pads were 13.2. The Strange caliper brackets and pads were 4.4. That's a big difference. The stock calipers with the lines were 11.2. The Strange calipers with lines were right at 6 pounds. And the dust shields were 1.6 pounds, which is a total weight savings of 45.6 pounds. So just by doing this, I've saved almost 50 pounds off the front end, which is perfect. Now, guys, the only thing I'm going to tell you is that this kit does delete the front ABS. I do have some Willwood brake lines, but I'm going to hold off on doing all that, basically because the this kit does do away with ABS. Excuse me for a sec. And I'm going to have to reroute the brake lines because I'm going to go ahead and do away with the ABS module, which is a lot of weight off the front. We'll weigh all that. We're going to have a total weight savings of all the weight reduction that I've done. There's a lot that I've done so far, This is going to kind of jump around, like I said before, because I'm trying to get things done here and waiting on parts and stuff like that. You know, whatever. I also am going to go ahead and do the Pro Series 2 rear brakes. They are on order, on the way. Those do away with the e-brake, so and also ABS. So there's no sense in having the ABS module anymore. I'm going to reroute the brake lines as I see fit. I already have one piece to do that. It's a really neat piece. It's going to go right there. Those are the two rear brake lines. I have that one piece that joins them together, and then I'm just going to have to redo the fronts. Possibly thinking about doing manual brakes. I'm not 100% sure yet. I have to do some more research to see if I have to run like a proportion valve or something like that. And my God, look at that rear. Sassy. But that's going to do it for this video, killers. If you like what I'm doing here, please, oh, sorry about this lighting. If you like what I'm doing here, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.